to another episode of Simple Sarah. Today on the show, I'm doing a collaboration video with the Chef Avoir Chaud. I'm doing the dessert portion and he's doing the entree. So let's get started on our dessert. Today I have chose a citrus blueberry yogurt cake. And you need 2 sticks of butter. And they need to be room temperature. And I put them in my bowl. And while I worked on other stuff and cleaned around the house and stuff, it kind of got hot in the house and they melted real good. So, and then we're going to cream our butter and our sugar together, and that's 2 cups of sugar, pure cane sugar. Okay. Next, we're going to add in our yogurt, and for citrus flavor, where you can use any brand, any flavor. For citrus that I chose was tangerine. So I've got 2 tangerines. Don't have to be the thick Greek yogurt. It can be the other yogurt. But any citrus you want, or if you don't want citrus to your cake, then just use plain yogurt. And these are 2 of these, and each one of them is 5.3 ounces. Some vanilla yogurt would be lovely too. To that, we're also going to add in 1 lemon zest that had been zested of all its zest. This is our citrus part. If you don't like lemon, don't use it. If you don't want lemon at all, leave that out. Or if you want something different, use orange zest. And then also we're going to put in the juice of the lemon that we zested. We're just going to take our lemon that we've took all our zest off and just squeeze all the little juices. I'm going to squeeze it into a container. That way if any seeds plop in the juice, I can pick them out and see them easier than if they're down in the batter. And 1/3 cup of buttermilk. 2 teaspoons of some vanilla. Make sure it has a citrus flavor. I'm also going to put some lemon extract in. But you don't have to put that in there if you don't want to. But I want to have a strong lemon flavor. So 1 teaspoon. Now we're going to add in our all-purpose flour, which is 2 cups, and a 1/2 teaspoon of salt. I'm using my pink Himalayan salt, and then a 1/2 teaspoon of baking soda, and a 1/2 teaspoon of baking powder. And then we're just going to put it all in. And mix this. Next, we're going to take our blueberries, which you'll need 2 cups of blueberries. Mine are still a little bit frozen, but they're thawing out. And then I took a 1/2 cup of all-purpose flour, added it to the bag, sealed it back up, shake, shake, shake. And we're just going to fold in our blueberries. And the reason why we put flour on them is hopefully it's a tip that will keep the blueberries from sticking to the bottom of the cake. They'll won't be all on the bottom. And we're just going to fold this in. Now, you don't have to have your blueberries frozen. Mine were. If they're already thawed out and they have a lot of juices, you might want to drain the juice a little bit. And don't worry if it's going to start turning your batter with a purplish blue color, because that's just from the juices of the blueberry. It's not a big deal. Okay, I've got my oven preheated to 350 degrees. I got me a greased and floured bundt pan. And we're just going to put our batter in here evenly. Blackberries would be good. Strawberries. Raspberries even. Alright, I've kind of spread it out even and then tapped it on the counter over here for a couple times to let it settle down in the pan. And we're ready to pop it in the oven. Preheated 350 degrees for about an hour or more until your toothpick inserted in the middle comes out clean. Then you know it's done. Alright, let's make the glaze that we're going to put on the cake. And you need another cup of blueberries. And they were still partially frozen a little bit. But that's okay. I just put them in my little chopper and kind of pureed them up a little bit. And I left it a little bit chunky, you know. It's not going to be smooth. And I left the seeds and the pulp and the skin and everything in there. If you want it completely with just the juice, then you might want to strain it through one of them little thin mesh strainers to get all the seeds and stuff out of it. We need some vanilla, a teaspoon of vanilla, and a teaspoon of our lemon flavoring. And then we're going to whisk in 1.5 cups of powdered sugar. I might need a little bit more. Depends on how thick or runny you want your little glaze to be. Now it's okay if it has lumps and stuff. I just think that looks homemade. It needs probably a little bit more powdered sugar. Let's do another 1/2 cup. So that'd be 2 cups altogether. And now let me get my spoon in here and see about the... See, yeah, that's good. I wanted it runny, but not too thick, you know. Not thick, but not too runny. So that's perfect for me. Alright, our cake is cooled and I popped it out of the pan. And now you can pour the glaze on the cake or just pour it on each slice like I'm going to do. So let's slice into the cake so I can show you the middle of it. There's your big old slice of it. Looks real good and yummy. I'm going to take some little glaze. Just kind of drizzle it over as much as you would like. And there you have it. Citrus blueberry yogurt cake for Mother's Day.
If you enjoyed Sarah's portion of her recipe, please head over to her channel and subscribe, or you can click the subscribe button, which will be somewhere at the top of this video. I'm heating here 1.5 tablespoons of olive oil, and I've just added 1/2 tablespoon of butter. Melt the two together. I have 2 large onions here that I've thinly sliced. So I'm going to add this to the hot oil and butter. Right now I'm on a high flame. I'm going to adjust my flame to medium. I'm just going to make sure I have all the onions pretty much broken apart. And now I'm going to turn the flame to medium high. I'm going to let this go for about 4 minutes. So it's been 4 minutes. And I'm going to go ahead and give this a stir. I did adjust the flame down from medium high down to about medium low. And give it a stir. And I'm going to let this go for another 4 minutes on a medium low flame. And I'm just going to watch it. And I'm going to stir it once in that time frame. So it's been another 4 minutes, and I stirred it once. Now I'm going to sprinkle on just about 1/4 teaspoon of salt. And I have the flame back on medium, and I'm going to stir this salt in. And I'm going to watch this now. Just continue to cook it, stirring it occasionally until the onions are brown and caramelized. Okay, the onions are done, so I'm going to remove this from the heat and put the onions into a bowl and set it aside. And we're going to start the cube steak. So here in a bowl I have 1 1/4 cups of all-purpose flour, and this is 3/4 teaspoon of black pepper, half a teaspoon of salt. Then we're going to add about half a teaspoon of cayenne pepper. Give this a whisk. If you don't want to add any pepper, you don't have to. You can just leave it as salt, as if you have any dislikes to using pepper. So I have some cube steak here, and I got 2 packs of these, and these are medium sized. And I've got 6 of these. So what I'm going to do is place this onto my cutting board that I lined with some plastic wrap. Take another piece of plastic wrap and place it on top of the steak, and we're going to pound it out. So I'm just going to use a heavy spoon, and I'm just going to I'm not going to pound it too much because I don't want the steak to fall apart. So do that with all the steak and set it aside, and then we'll be back. Okay, so I got all the steaks pounded out. So what we're going to do now is just liberally sprinkle salt, pepper, and garlic powder just evenly over the steaks. And I know that I've already added some salt and pepper to my flour, but the reason why you do need to add it on the steaks also is because it's not really that much in the flour, and you don't want your steaks to be bland. So sprinkle both sides liberally with this stuff, and we'll be back. So I got the steaks coated with salt, pepper, garlic powder on both sides, and now the flour mixture that we have here, just roll your steaks into the flour and shake off the excess flour. And I do want to mention one thing I didn't mention earlier, is that the steaks are at room temperature. So let them sit out for about 30 minutes before you even handle them, to allow them to come at room temperature. That way the steaks will cook evenly. Here I'm heating up a quarter cup of canola oil, and that's only 4 tablespoons, so it's not very much. We're going to pan fry these. The oil is now shimmering, so I'm going to just put 2 steaks at a time in the pan. Don't put the steaks in cold oil. If your oil is cold, it's not going to heat properly with the steak in it, and the steak is going to become very tough, and it's going to absorb all the oil. You just want this to fry nicely at a steady temperature. So I just adjusted my flame to medium, and I'm just going to fry it until it's brown on both sides, and I'm going to remove it from the pan. So it's going to take about 3 to 4 minutes on both sides. Okay, so these are browning nicely, so I'm going to flip them. You see it's nice and brown, not too brown. So I'm going to cook this for another 3 minutes. These are not going to be completely done. Please keep this in mind, because they're going to finish cooking in the gravy that we're going to make. This is just to give it a nice fry and to cook it to about 90% done. So when this browns on the other side, remove it from the pan and cook all the remaining steak the same way. So now it's brown on both sides. I'm going to remove it from the pan and cook the remaining the same way. So I still got some oil left. It's not burned, and I'm going to use this to create my roux. Everything's going to start in this pan, but we're going to transfer it to a larger pot. So I have, this is approximately 3 tablespoons of oil left. So I'm going to sprinkle in about 2.5 to 3 tablespoons of all-purpose flour. I'm just going to mix this until the flour is browned. I'm going to make a dark roux. dark roux is going to be a kind of a chestnut brown color. So I still can add a little bit more flour because it's still a little bit oily. So that was a total of 4 tablespoons of flour I used. Okay, I'm on a medium flame. I'm gonna let this cook until it's starting to turn like a chestnut brown color. So I'll be back once this stage happens. Make sure you stir this often so it doesn't burn. Okay, so now we have a dark roux. I'm showing you the stages as it's starting to turn darker. So this is as dark as you want it to be. So it takes about 5 to 6 minutes. But if you're cooking on the electric range, you have to be very careful because electric stoves burn. So I'm just going to pour in here a cup of water. Okay. Reduce the heat. And now this is no longer boiling so rapidly. I need to add a pinch of salt to this. The salt will help it thicken. I'm making 2 separate roux. The reason why is because I don't want to lose any flavor from this skillet. So this is going to be the first roux. And the first roux was made with the canola oil, and the second roux is going to be made with butter. This is going to make this gravy very rich in flavor. But we're only going to make a smaller roux for the second part. Okay, so I'm going to set this gravy aside because it's thickened. It's not too thick, which is fine because it's going to be thickened at the end. So this is 2 tablespoons of butter. Add half a cup of flour. Just sprinkle it around. And we're going to cook this to a dark roux like we did the first gravy. So I'll be back once this roux is darkened. If you need more moisture, if it's too dry, just add a little bit more oil or butter to it. But I'm going to just continue to cook this to it's dark. So this roux is now brown. I'm going to add about 2 cups of cold water to this. That's the first top. Stir it. Make sure it's well thickened. Make sure the flour is smooth in this. We're going to get it whisked to help me get the edges of the pan. I don't like using metal utensils on non-stick surfaces. You always use wood, and so that's fine. I didn't use a whisk on my first batch of gravy. Make sure you get the gravy blended in very well. Add a second cup of water. This is on high. Whisk. Then to this, I'm going to add the first batch of gravy. Give this a quick whisk. I diced up a half a red bell pepper, and this is about a stick and a half of celery. This is a celery serving slice. Add that to the gravy. And I'll get it to a boil. So this is almost at a boil. I'm going to add a pinch of salt. And stir everything together again. At this point, you need to taste it for salt and pepper. Okay, it's perfect on salt and pepper. Here I have a beef bouillon cube. Just going to add the beef bouillon cube to this. and I'm going to whisk this just to make sure the bouillon cube is really well dissolved. So I'll be back in a moment. I'm going to just whisk this for a couple of minutes. Okay, so this is thickening up very much. I'm going to add to this now the caramelized onions from earlier. Give that a whisk. If your gravy is too thick, in your opinion, just add a little bit more water to thin it out, which I'm going to do that right now. So this is a nice consistency of gravy. I just need to add a few more tablespoons of water. It's just a tad too thick. Off camera, I did add to this a half a teaspoon of salt. Not salt, but a half a teaspoon of pepper. Doesn't need any more salt because the bouillon adds salt. So I'm returning the steaks to the pan, and I'm turning this to about medium, and I'm going to let this cook in the gravy for about 15 minutes. So also you need to lower the heat to about medium-low after adding the steaks. And this is going to cook for about 20 minutes on medium-low heat. This will help the steaks become tender, even more tender, and it will also infuse it with the gravy flavor. So we'll be back once it's done. And here is the steak. It's very tender and it's filled with a lot of flavor. I hope you guys try this recipe and enjoy it. Please do not forget to rate, comment, and subscribe. By subscribing, you get to see new videos from me every Wednesday and Saturday. Please remember to live and be well. Do all you can to stop all bullying and abuse. Thank you for watching.